Hey everybody, how you doing? Ah boy, it's been a long week, a long few days. Oh, I am wrapping it up here in a shop. Got a bunch of stuff going on over here. I've got 4 knives I'm getting ready to package up and ship off. I just got done working on them. Gonna make a couple of videos. So this is one of the 2 videos. This is for James. So let me set you down and let's see what James has coming. Alrighty guys, okay, well, I have James's knives done. That's a mouthful. James's knives done. James M, thank you very much, sir. James picked out a Coyote Works knife, and he ultimately bucked under and got some really nice Coco Bolo. Now, if many of you don't know, the Coyote Works knives is about a 10.5 inch long. It's made out of 2-inch wide, 3/16 inch bar stock, D2 steel. It's really one of the only 3 steels I use. D2 being a semi-stainless tool steel. It's a really good knife, especially here in the P&W. And it's a very good cost-effective knife versus some of your lower grade knives, you know, your steels and stuff like that. D2 it's a little bit more troublesome, I guess, is what some people say to work with. It's just a harder steel to hand sand and cut and everything else and grind versus 1085, 1095. Some of your own ones and stuff, they're a lot softer metals. But I learned on D2 from my knife mentor 5 years ago or so, and I've just never turned back. My other knives are CPM 154 and CPM S35 VM. So I'll dabble with CPM D2, but it's so hard to get. It runs out of stock so frequently. I stopped actually trying to even buy it and do it. I didn't want CPM D2 and D2 mixed up in a batch, so I just went back to D2. I digress. James picked out a Coyote Works knife. And the Coyote Works knife, there'll be playlists at the end of this or something, or you can check down below Coyote Works knives. Myself and Casey with Coyote Works came up with a design for a knife. And this is the design on it. This is one of the 3 ways you can get the knife. Well, actually, there's several ways you can get the knife. And James chose this way. He picked out a Coyote Works knife with the acid stonewash finish. And then he picked out Coco Bolo knife scales. Really, really nice. And the brass pins that he has in there, the 2/8 inch and a 1/4 inch lanyard hole, boy, it just really pops with everything. Now, when you get Coco Bolo, it might have a lighter color like this, but it will start to darken through time, through your hand oil, and through the elements, and through oxidation. Coco Bolo is a really hard wood, but it has a lot of natural oils in it. And those oils will surface, and the wood will actually get a little bit darker. You'll still see the grain, of course, but it won't be as bright or vibrant. But this was a really nice choice. I have to agree, James, him and I were going back and forth. The brass pins with that stonewash finish is really, really attractive. And again, having the Coyote Works with that really deep finger groove in here at the neck, I call it. The shoulders are right here on either side of the knife, the scales. And this is this neck right here, this throat. It's really nice and deep. It's about 1 inch wide from spine to belly right there. And it's really wide because it really lets you get in there, hold this knife. If you had to plunge or stab into something, you know for sure your hand isn't going to slide off and go across the blade because of that deep, deep finger groove right there, the throat. And then having a choil right there is also really nice because you have part of the ricasa, that's what this flat part is called. That ricasa with the choils, that little groove, that helps protect your hand as well. And also an ease for sharpening. But James, really nice. James also picked a standard black Kydex sheath, but instead of doing the Blade Tech Lock, he wanted a leather belt loop, the stamped leather belt loop, or tooled. I tool this by hand. I do this all here. And I cut the leather, I tool it, and I dye it, and I coat it like I would my other leather sheaths. But it's really nice because it gives you a little bit more of a dangle than the Blade Tech Locks. They keep the belt, they keep the knife pretty high up against you. I mentioned this in a previous video. I'll have to try to link it, or after this video here, towards the end, those little squares pop up, the little circles and squares and everything. I'll try to make sure to put those in there some way. But you can look under leather belt loops for an option. And this is really good for the guys that are a little bit bigger in size. You know, you're a little bit rounder, a little bit more svelte. Okay, and it's no fault of your own, no big deal or anything like that. It's just a lot of knives just come with that tech lock or something that and it attaches to your body, and you can't wear that. It's not comfortable. Other people, they don't like it, like myself. I don't technically like the Blade Tech Lock up against my body too much because when I wear my jacket, my jackets will cover that a lot more and I can't get to it. So having something like this hangs down slightly, it allows you a little bit more ease of access to your knife. And for other guys, it's a little bit more comfortable to wear a knife that way because it dangles off your belt. So that's good. So James picked that out. I was really pleased with that. I'm very happy with that wood. It was a really good selection by James's part. But then James picked out a chef's knife. And this is a 12-inch chef's knife. I've been making these a lot. I vary from time to time, a little bit of different aesthetics and such. And in James's case, I went ahead and I squared off the shoulders a little bit, but I don't like sharp edges on a lot of things. I don't like sharp edges on scales, you know, the handle material and stuff. I like something a little bit more curved and soft to the hand. So what I do is I try to balance the two. And in James's case, he picked out this really unique set of dyed stabilized burled maple scales. And it was the only set I had. And I wanted to make sure that it looked a little nice. It was a little different because the scales are very unique and I wanted to give James a little bit something different I hadn't done before. Of course, these scales are book match, and what's important with that is, for you that might not know, having a book match set of wood scales in your knife is very important for you, because what it does is it allows you to get the grain and the colors and everything to go from one side of the knife over to the other side of the knife. As you'll see here in the video and stuff like that, you'll see how it's light on one side and that lightness carries over to the other, but then it gets dark. And you can see the grains and the wood texture or structure going back and forth across from the tang. And now, of course, like with most all of my knives, I taper the tang on my chef's knives, and that taper tang goes down to such a nice point at the back of the scales, at the back of the handle of the knife, that it's just really sharp. It's really pointy, really crisp. It looks like a big knife, and many people say, oh my gosh, it looks so big and heavy. You'll be surprised how light this is, James, and I hope you're pleased with it. Again, razor sharp. You won't have any problems cutting things, so be careful. But and then I just put them in little Kydex sheaths like this. Mostly this little scabbard here is just for me to ship it to you. Many people might be able to stick this in their cutting board or their cutting block, or maybe they have some way of putting it in a drawer. If not, you have this. I keep it oiled. There's butcher block oil on your kitchen knives. When you ever get a kitchen knife from me, it's butcher block oil, and it's a vitamin E enriched food safe oil. So I recommend putting those on your knives and stuff. Any knife you could do for anything. Your Coyote Works knives, your knives usually get a 3-in-1 oil, but the butcher block oil is really nice, so I put it on there. But I am done taking pictures. It's all oiled up, and I thank you, James. Everybody else, I do appreciate it. If you got any questions, feel free to reach out down below, but more importantly, just shoot me an email. You can get me over at cknifeandtool.com. You can reach me over there. You can see all the past knives I've made for everybody in the last 5 years or so, as well as all the Coyote Works knives and Kit Badger knives and Warrior Poet Society knives, the knives I've made for Lunkers TV and Axe Family and everybody else. They're called Dad Dare now. Cody and Taylor are having a baby, but Cody changed the channel over. It's called Dad Dare now. So go check him out and you'll be able to find him. If you type in Axe Family, you'll still find him. It'll come up under Dad Dare. But James, thank you again. Everybody else, I do appreciate it. I'm going to wrap your knives up, get them taped off, and I'm going to head off to the post office and mail them today. So everybody else, like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. Keep me from the bottom of the YouTube bucket. See you later.